on your horse and ride. What you said to me, you would never believe. Someone should have shot the messenger. Was like sticking needles in my eyes. She meant what she said, but I had nothing to lose. Try to shake you awake, but you wouldn't.
Hey everybody, this is Dominic from Dom and Noelles Harley Adventures. Been a little bit since we did a little vlog. I actually was out on my bike last week to the Poconos, but I went at night and I forgot to take the camera, and it would have been actually a real nice one and get some new things to see, but it didn't happen. So but we're gonna make up for that pretty soon. Pretty soon. Right now I'm actually out on Noelle's bike, on the cool Snake Venom Roguelite Special, which is pretty cool. So I get to ride the cool bike today. And trying to get some miles on it a little bit. Noelle's been very busy. We both have been. I've had a little more opportunity to get on my bike than she did. And I'm trying to get some miles because we got to get a service done soon. I'm ready. I'm about a little over 2,500, about 2,600 miles. Noelle is just short of 2,000, so we got to get maybe about 200 to 300 miles on before next week. Not a big deal. So I'm taking a little, I guess you would say, a little liberty today to add on some miles and enjoy her bike. I've never really ridden it. I mean, it basically is the same bike as mine. Definitely lighter without the tour pack and all that good stuff. So we will have a pretty epic ride coming next month. We will be riding our bikes south to Florida. Noelle and I purchased a house down in Royal Palm Beach a month ago, a little less than a month ago. And we will be taking the bikes down there and leaving them there for the winter, actually. Which is quite exciting. Quite exciting. Looking real forward to that. That is going to be very cool. What's going on? Bike riding by. And we will certainly document that trip. We really don't ride during the winter, so we have the house as a vacation house for now, and figured let's get the bikes down there, leave them there. When we go visit, we'll be able to ride our bikes during the winter. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. So primary, I think, reason for my little vlog today is a topic. Actually, it's an interesting topic to me because my experience has been very, I'm not going to say unique. I'm sure others have gone through what I've gone through when it came to beginning of learning how to ride a motorcycle and buying my first bike and buying a brand new Harley Davidson motorcycle as a beginner rider. You know, actually we're talking 17 years ago, last month. And I've been seeing some videos, you know, on YouTube from some vloggers and YouTubers discussing that very subject, which is a very interesting subject to me. Is a Harley a good beginner bike? Is it smart to buy a Harley as your first bike? And there's a lot of different opinion on that subject, for sure. And it's definitely something I'd like to discuss in this video. Where a lot of people saying if it's your first bike, and you know, I mean, there's a lot of factors involved. Your experience, have you been on a bike? Do you know how to ride a bike? Do you not know at all? Have any experience at all? You know, what kind of riding are you looking to do? What's your budget? There's a lot of different factors. And a lot of the different opinions I saw, you know, there's no wrong or right. I'm not here to criticize what somebody else said. You know, other people saying, that, you know, you got the mind of if you should buy a Sportster as your first Harley, because this way it's a smaller bike, it's easier to learn on, and it's less, it's more inexpensive, where the brand new Sportsters go for, you know, around $8,000-9,000, I think. And I won't dispute that. I won't argue that. It wasn't my path. As a matter of fact, we'll discuss that. So I've been a motorcycle enthusiast since a kid. I love bikes. I love motorcycles. I got bitten by that bug as far as having the love for it at a very young age. A lot of pop culture, you know, a lot of TV shows, movies. Growing up in Brooklyn, you had a lot of motorcycle people riding, and just the sound and the look of the bikes, and it was something that was very, very appealing to me, but something that I didn't get involved in until I turned 30 years old. I actually didn't know anybody. I probably would have gotten involved sooner, but I had nobody to kind of, I guess, hold my hand and get me involved. I'm trying to think of my route here. I'm trying to get down into the Somers 22, and I'm trying to I'm brain farting right now on what my route should be to get to Route 22. All right, okay, I'm going the right way. Sorry about that. I had a little lapse there. That's too funny. All right, so basically, when I turned 30, I had a buddy of mine that showed up to my house one day with a brand new 2004 Harley Davidson Softail Deuce, and she rode it up to my house and to show it off, and I was very impressed. And the bike was beautiful. I actually got a picture in the house of me sitting on that bike, and I'm actually you know what? I'm actually going the wrong way. Well, we'll correct it. We will correct it. I'm actually going the wrong way. That's all right. We'll correct this. We'll correct it right now. Make a U-turn. I'm just going to have to wait for traffic. So I think what I was more impressed, more so than the bike, was actually the fact that he had just learned to ride and never had a bike before, never rode before, and all of a sudden he's on a brand new bike. And how did he accomplish that? And he'd taken a 3-day course and got his license with the 3-day course, a 3-day, you know, beginner safety course. And here he is riding a brand new bike like he'd been on it forever. And that really was my catalyst to say, you know what, I can. And he was pushing me, you know. He was, right away, he bought a bike. He wanted me to go buy a bike so he'd have someone to ride with. And, you know, and at that point I was living at home in Brooklyn, and actually I had no place to keep it, so I was actually like, well, I'd love to, but I'm not leaving it on the street. I don't have any place to keep it. And he lived close by, and he's like, well, you can keep it in my garage. So he was like really like giving me my way, and I was like, all right, you know. At that point, I had been going into Brooklyn Harley Davidson and looking at motorcycles, and doing a little bit of investigation on the bikes, reading up on them. I pretty much knew what bike I wanted. I had seen a Harley Davidson Softail Night Train in probably around 2000. Cop that I knew had gotten it, and I loved it. And I actually said, "Ooh!" I said, "If I ever get a bike, that's going to be it." But having not ever ridden a motorcycle before, having no practical training, never worked a clutch shifter, I didn't know how to. I still, to this day, riding 17 years, and I still have never driven a stick shift. Could I do it? Yeah, it's the same principle. Just get used to the mechanics. You know, different than a clutch and a foot shifter. But I had no frame of reference at all back then, so it was intimidating, and it is intimidating. You know, if you don't know how to ride, and you're going to, buy a motorcycle, it's intimidating if you don't know what you're doing. So right off the bat, the first advice I'm going to give is before you make any decision, which I didn't do. I actually went and bought the bike, but I did book the course. I did buy the bike knowing I was going to do the course. It is so important to take a motorcycle safety course even if you know how to ride and you've got no formal training and you've learned to ride on your own or your friend taught you how to ride. It is so important to take one of these courses to learn proper technique. And here I am riding 17 years and I'm still studying. I still take courses and I'm still improving my riding techniques and still learning and learning a lot this year's latest. So I mean, right from the beginning, I mean, it is certainly something that you should do. So I had booked the course and I'm thinking about what bike I should buy, and I went to the Harley Davidson dealership in Brooklyn at the time. It's not there anymore. And the manager over there, sales manager, Roseanne, who I'm still friends with to this day, probably gave me the best advice ever. So they had a night train there, but I didn't look at it because it was kind of intimidating. It was a bigger bike. It's a 1450cc Softail, you know, twin cam, you know, one of their cruiser models. And I'm like, well, I don't know how to ride, so I don't think I'm going to buy that bike. So what did I do? I wind up sitting on a Sportster 883. We do a little shortcut here. 883 Sportster I sat on. And I was sitting on it, and picture me, you know, you know, 6 foot tall, 200 pounds. And I was a lot lighter at that time. I was about 195, 200. Sitting on an 883 Sportster, I looked pretty ridiculous. But I didn't know that I looked ridiculous because, you know, I have no frame of reference as a motorcycle rider. All I knew was that it was a smaller bike and probably easier to ride. And my attitude was, let me get the smaller bike and ride this until I get more experience. So at that point, Roseanne came out and she said to me, what the hell are you doing on that bike, Dominic? Why are you sitting there on that bike? I said, then I told her, I don't know how to ride. I have to take the course, and I'll get this first to learn off of. She says, absolutely not. You're too big on that bike. You look ridiculous. And learning how to ride a motorcycle, while it takes skill and takes time, it's not hard to do. And she said to me, you're going to learn how to ride. You're going to take your course. Then you're going to be out with your friends, and they're going to be all on their big bikes, on their Softails and their Dynas and their touring models, and you're going to be on this little tiny 883. And they're going to be, first of all, they're going to be abusing you. They're going to be poking fun at you. And second off, you're going to get bored and you're going to outgrow this bike, and then you're going to end up trading it in, probably losing some money, and have to start over with the bigger bike. She goes, get off the bike. And I did. I got off the bike. What bike do you like? And I said, I like the night train. She goes, go sit on the night train. I sat on it, and it felt great. And she goes, that's the bike. And you'll learn on that bike, and you'll grow on that bike, and you'll go from there. And that's exactly what I wind up doing. I actually went and bought, now I actually didn't get it from there, but I bought a brand new 2005 Softail night train. And I couldn't even ride off the lot. It was actually very embarrassing. A buddy of mine, my friend, had to ride it off the lot. I did not know how to ride it. He actually gave me a few lessons on it, and then I took a 3-day course. And the next 3 days, and by the end of that course, you know, they do it on their little 250 putt-putts, the little Rebels, and all that good stuff. And by the end of that, it was a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. By Friday, I was a licensed motorcycle rider, and I was out on my Softail night train, riding like I stole it, I guess. So. And I did grow on that bike. Did I drop that bike? Yeah, I did drop it. You know, I had my learning curve, sure. You know, I was getting comfortable with the weight and the size. You know, I didn't crash, but I remember for the first time I think I had stopped, and I had the wheel turned, and I put it down lightly. You know, everybody does that, but I was able to get the bike back up. And my point is, I was like the perfect example of, you don't need to buy a Sportster as your first bike. You don't need to buy a little, you know, smaller CC bike or a smaller or cheaper bike. And I'm not saying that's wrong to do that if that's what you want to do. But for me, I didn't have to. I learned on the bike. And it's important that I say, though, important that I say, and other people have talked about this, and I will agree, is that bike fit me. As a big guy, that bike, I was able to plant my feet on the ground. I had control on the bike. I was able to handle the weight of that bike. So it wasn't like I went out and bought a touring model bike or a big Electra Glide Ultra, which I definitely would have been out of my depth. So I'm not suggesting go and buy a bike, you know, a $35,000, $40,000 Harley, the, you know, big touring bike as your first bike, and learn off of that, because that could be a problem for sure. But what I'm saying is that you don't need to go buy a little Sportster if you don't need to. For sure you don't need to. It's not necessary. Now, if you're a tiny person, you're small in stature, and, you know, then it's a different story. You know, you might sit on the Sportster, and the Sportster might be very comfortable for you, and it might be a good size. So yes, your stature and your physique definitely play a part in your choice for buying a motorcycle, especially a new one. But and you know, at that point when I bought that bike, you know, I didn't know what kind of riding I was going to do. I didn't know what motorcycle riding was. At that point, it was just to own the motorcycle, have it, go out with my friends, go bar hopping, hanging out at the motorcycle bars, kind of showing off a little bit. You know, I wanted to look cool. You know, I wanted to be the envy of other people that want to learn to ride. You know, I didn't think past that. And but obviously my my journey certainly changed a lot in regards to motorcycle riding. And once I get bit by the bug, and actually that was it. So I mean, right now, 17 years later, actually only a few years after that, I traded up that Softail Night Train for a touring model for a street glide, because getting out of the city and riding and starting doing longer distances and going to do scenic riding was what really piqued my interest. And having a bike that was comfortable for that kind of riding was definitely more interesting to me than having a showstopper or a custom looking bike. And I own a Road Glide Limited 2021. I've owned a Road Glide. I've been riding Road Glides for the last 5-6 years. My wife, as I'm on her bike right now, she's on it. And to me, the Road Glide is the best bike that Harley makes. It is the best bike. And if you would ask me back in 2004, when I, you know, picked my first bike, when I bought my Night Train, and looking through the Harley catalog, and I still, you know, I look at the models. And if you would ask me which bike did I like the least, which bike I would never get, the Road Glide was the bike that I said was the ugliest, and the bike that I had the least interest in, probably would never own. And if you told me back then that, you know, that would become my favorite bike, I would have laughed at you back then. But, you know, everybody's journey is different, and, you know, and that's another thing, too, is, I mean, while I can't say, hey, listen, I dropped $18,000, close to 20 grand on my first bike, unknown, and that was a little scary, because what if I didn't like it? What if I was too scared? What if I didn't get used to it? What if I didn't acclimate to it? You know, what if it did not become an easy thing for me to do? I would have been in trouble then. I mean, I'm sure I would have sold and got my money back, but I kind of took a risk. So, I mean, I probably wouldn't advise that as far as what I did, and say, oh yeah, go out and drop, you know, 15 to 20 grand on a bike that you've never ridden before and don't know how to ride it. And I was fortunate that, yeah, this was my calling. It was a passion. It was infected with the love for motorcycle riding, and I think I kind of knew that. But I would suggest take a course first and see how you like it, and see how you adjust to it. I mean, I saw people taking the course that just couldn't get the knack of riding, were scared of it, and there was like 1 or 2 guys that actually walked away before we even took the road test, that they said nah, they weren't interested. So definitely take the 3-day course. But I would definitely go, my advice is go to Harley dealerships, go sit on bikes, look at all the different models, don't be intimidated, you know. I mean, I initially was, but then I remember a friend of mine, a sergeant that I drove, he took me into the Harley Davidson dealership in Brooklyn. And he rode and he was looking at bikes, and once I walked in there, I think it was the first time I'd been in a dealership, and I thought everybody was going to be mean and gruff and look at me like, ah, ha, ha, you know, who are you? You know, everybody's always super friendly, treated me very nice, very well, and I definitely would suggest, don't feel intimidated to walk into a dealership and start asking questions. All the dealers and the salespeople are very nice in all the dealerships. I've never had a bad experience. And they can help you and they can advise you. And, you know, when it comes to this, most people that are selling these bikes, we're all in the same boat. We're all in this together. I mean, while the dealerships are looking to make money, they're looking to make sales, and that's the bottom line. They're not going to steer you wrong, and they're going to help you make the right decision. And Roseanne from Brooklyn Harley definitely helped me a lot to make my decision and make the right one. So definitely go in, sit at bikes. I also too, and another YouTuber that's got a channel who actually works, family owns Harley Davidson dealerships out in California, he gave advice that I would actually second, which was don't buy a bike, especially if you're not experienced non-rider, don't buy a bike strictly on aesthetics and what the bike looks like. Don't get a bike simply because you like the way it looks, because that could be a recipe for disaster. You might love the way it looks, but once you get on it, ride it, it actually might not be the bike for you. So definitely you have to sit on these bikes. You have to get a feel for them. You have to see how, you know, and the one thing that's good about buying a Harley is if, say, you really do like a bike and you get on it and maybe the bike is a little too high for you, or the handlebars are a little short or a little forward, you know, Harley Davidsons, you can adjust. You can change seats. You can adjust handlebars. You can adjust your foot pegs or floorboards. You can, you know, almost like a tailor, and you can definitely tailor the bike to your needs if there's some if it needs minor alterations. So that's another thing. You can go sit on a bike and, well, it might be a little too tall. And also too, if you're going and to go look at bikes and you're going to go sit on bikes, wear boots. Where were you going to ride, you know, would ride in? Like, I would definitely not suggest walking into a dealership with flip-flops or sandals and go sit on bikes, because that's not what you're going to ride. And if like a half an inch or an inch makes a difference between your comfort on the bike, wearing your sandals and slippers is not going to help you. But if you're going there with, even if you're not a rider, most people have some sort of form of boot. You know, I would go in there wearing a pair of boots and before you sit on these bikes. So definitely would suggest that. And a lot of people have asked me over I asked my advice, and I've given this advice. But this is all too, if you really want to start off on a Harley, you don't have to. I'm not saying that if you're going to start learning how to ride a motorcycle, you need to buy a Harley. This is for people that want to buy a Harley and might be intimidated at buying a Harley as their first motorcycle if they're not experienced riding them. So listen, there are plenty of other motorcycles out there that are great. They're quality bikes. I mean, the only bike I've ever owned, and probably will ever own, is a Harley Davidson. That's just my passion and love for the bikes. I do like other motorcycles. All right, just a little pause in the action. I'll be actually riding here to meet Noelle and my in-laws. This is the Burger Barn. We're going to be passing her right now. We're going to be having dinner there in a little bit, so that's why I'm kind of hanging around in this area here and keep close. But yeah, I mean, look at other models of bikes. There's other stuff out there, and you got to look at your budget. You know, Harley Davidsons are expensive. I won't lie, you know, but one thing I will say is you definitely don't buy above your budget. Don't put yourself in hock or put yourself in debt just for a motorcycle. But I will say, if you're going to go and you really want a Harley Davidson, you want a certain model, and if it seems maybe just a little bit out of your price range at that moment, maybe don't rush, maybe wait. Because if you can figure it out, save your money, put your money together to get the bike that you want, it's worth it. You're never going to, as far as I'm concerned, this is not money thrown away. This is investing in you. It's investing in something, in a passion. It is never going to be wasted money. So if you go in there and, you know, maybe you want to get on a Softail, or, you know, a model, a Street Bob, or a Softail Standard is your first bike, or, you know, which these are other good models to look at for first bikes, above the Sportster line, full twin cam Milwaukee 8 engines that are, you know, on the smaller end, but they're a little more pricey. But if you're looking at a Sportster, maybe $11,000, and these other bikes are $13,000, $14,000, and you're going to choose the Sportster because it's a little cheaper, you're making a mistake. You know, wait and get the bike that you want, because you're going to end up trading it in anyway. So it's definitely worth it to make sure you can afford it, you know, and definitely worth it if you have to hold off. Instead of going buying a cheaper model that's maybe $2,000-$3,000 cheaper, maybe save your money and be able to go and buy that bike, because it's worth it. I mean, there's no doubt it's worth it. So, wow, I'm enjoying Noelle's bike. This video should come out real good because she's got the lower clocks work. This is like the 6-inch. The 6-inch clockwork fairing that we have on there, and for sure it's smaller than my 14-inch clockwork fairing, and while you still get a good visual on that, we're getting very, very good with this. And we're just riding around Westchester, and it's beautiful over here. It's one thing, the Florida riding, and we'll figure it out, but the Florida riding isn't going to be as nice as this. I don't think we're going to have the country and farmland and forestry and landscaping we have over here, and the trees, and I feel like I'm certainly going to miss this for sure. But this is nice. This is very, very nice. So yes, I think October 4th we'll be heading down to Florida, to Royal Palm Beach. We will be going to Richmond, Virginia for the first part, spending the night. Then we will be going to Savannah, Georgia, and depending how quick we make it down, maybe take maybe stay in Savannah, Georgia for like 2 days and take some video there. You know what, let's go 139. I'm going to turn here. Let's go. Let's. One thing I love riding, we just go. No plan, sometimes the best way to go. Just go. Figure it out later. Go and get lost, and you can figure out a way home. And well, our technology on these bikes makes it very easy. Certainly very easy to get home. Wow, I miss riding a Rogue Light Special. I don't know how long I could last in her seat. She's got a reach seat. It's actually more comfortable than I thought it would be. Especially that I'm used to having a rider backrest pad, and this doesn't. But it's got a good scoop in it that's got my butt and lower back pretty steady, and it's pretty good. So it's actually, Noelle is calling. We're going to pull over. We are going to pull over. If I can find a place to pull over, we will call Noelle up and let her know what we're doing. She does not know I am out on her bike, which I'm sure she won't mind, because I want to get that mileage. We're at 1982. I'd like to be about 2200 by next week. All right. We got to speed it up. situation is I might be turning around. This 139 is right. Nice, this is beautiful. A little thin here on the side. I don't want to just pull over. A little dangerous. Maybe I'll pull over on this. Maybe there's somewhere over here to pull over. Actually, that's probably worse, because now I don't have any shoulder. Alright, maybe we turn around. I really don't want to pull somebody's driveway, but I might not have a choice. Wow, this is a nice windy road. Alright, when I signal off, that's going to be probably it for me anyway in this video. I think I got enough content with this. And we got some cool riding. And some cool visuals for you. Something different than what we've had. You know what? I can't turn. I know I've learned. See the car behind me. Shit. Damn it. I had a cool place to pull over. Where am I gonna pull over? I missed that. I wasn't paying attention. You know what we're gonna do here? This is safe enough. All right, folks, thank you very much. I turned the bike off, turned the camera off, call Noelle. And thanks for tuning in. Quick video, and hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.